At the last minute, they had a trip to Mexico. It was like 5 nights, 6 days. I was like, okay. And it was only $2,200. I was like, whoa. $2,200, 5 nights, 6 days? And someone I work with had been to those resorts and was talking about these resorts are phenomenal, blah, blah, blah. I think she was kind of hyping it up. And I was like, you know what? Bam, paddle in the air. And so, long story short, I mean, it was a bit of an impulse, but I pulled the trigger. And so guess what? We're going to Mexico.
Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Erica Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
The For Better and Worth podcast is sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union, a not-for-profit credit union that helps you take control of your financial future.
As a member of American Heritage, you're an owner. You'll be charged fewer fees, earn more in the form of dividends on your account, and have access to lower rates on loans.
Whether your goal is to save for a down payment on a home, create an emergency fund, or build for the retirement you've always dreamed of, American Heritage has the products, resources, and solutions you need.
After all, American Heritage is for the people, not for profit. So to learn more, go to ahcu.co/for better and worth. Hey, babe. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, but you sure? I mean, what's on your mind today?
Well, we had a interesting weekend last weekend. You have been going to these galas for work, and they're fundraisers for good causes.
Yes, they are.
And
absolutely.
Typically your level of involvement is small in terms of what you decide you spending at these galas.
I mean, usually I attend just as a representative of our organization.
Yes, but you sometimes you buy stuff and it's like $50 or $100.
I make donations sometimes, but they're typically small or they had various things, but I haven't spent like sizable amounts of money.
This time was different. And you surprised the sister because I'm at home chilling. And you send me this text message.
Now, I do joke regularly.
Matter of fact, you did a year ago too.
Yeah, I do joke about, I'm spending $20K on this trip.
You did that last year, and I was like, that guy is crazy. He not doing that, blah, blah, blah. Like I didn't even think about this being a real thing. And so you texted me, and I knew my plan that evening was to take a bath, to listen to this book, to do my self-care so that I can like wind down. And you sent me a text message and I kind of, for a hot second, I turned up because I was like, is he real? Is this real? Is he for real?
Here come a monkey wrench into your plans.
You said, what did you say? You said, we going to Mexico.
We going to Mexico.
And I said, what does this mean?
You said, what?
Yeah, and so immediately, honestly, I was like, time to take a bath. I need something to calm my nerves. I need something to chill me out. I'm like, what is he even saying? He'll let me know. Right. But I just needed to come down a bit. So how did you get there, babe?
Well, I've been telling you that I want to take a vacation. Now, we have a vacation plan.
Family.
Where it's going to be us and our girls. We're going on a vacation. We got a graduate this graduation season. Woo-hoo. So, we've already planned that vacation.
Yeah.
And, well, I have to actually backtrack a little bit because the week before I went to another gala.
Yeah.
And, people who go to galas, they had these silent auctions, then they have live auctions. And they had this trip to Turks and Caicos, which we haven't been to. And it was like under the actual value, and it was for like 16 to 18 people. I was like, wait a minute, we travel with friends. This is like way undervalued. And I started doing like per person calculations. And I was like, man, I could get a bunch of our friends. We could go on this trip. It'll be awesome. But I didn't put my card on file, so I couldn't buy the trip.
Well, thank God, because how much did that trip go for?
I know. That trip was like $11,000.
Right. So
I was already calculating like it's like $600 a person. You know, we get all our friends. We got this beachfront property. So I think I was a little salty that I missed out on the opportunity, which I would have called you and talked to you about that before I really got engulfed in it.
Now, that's a key point, though.
Yes.
Is that you felt like you missed out the week before at this other gala.
I know.
For a trip that would have been inexpensive for a bunch of
person.
us. Yeah.
But it would have been a big expense that I would have
out of your
outlay.
You would have been dependent on everybody saying yes.
Right.
So, but that's key.
Okay, but that's background, I think.
I think it's key though, because the fear of missing out is a big piece of why we do some of the things that we do.
Yeah.
So fast forward to the next week.
And so this next week, you know, they were going through all the auctions. I was like, yeah, I missed out last week. It's over. You know, I'm not doing it this week because the prices were a lot higher. And then at the last minute, they had a trip to Mexico. It was like 5 nights, 6 days. I was like, okay. And it was only $2,200. I was like, whoa. $2,200, 5 nights, 6 days? And someone I work with had been to those resorts and was talking about these resorts are phenomenal, blah, blah, blah. I think she was kind of hyping it up. And I was like, you know what? Bam, paddle in the air. And so, long story short, I mean, it was a bit of an impulse, but I pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm. And so guess what? We're going to Mexico. And when I sent that, I was like, okay, it's late. I'm gonna just send this to her. I'll talk to her when I get home. And typically we don't do this. And this is actually a first.
It is.
That I've actually made a purchase of that size without talking to you.
Right, because actually, you know what's funny? Okay, wait. My necklace that I have on was the purchase I'm actually about to talk about, because you called me.
Oh.
And you said, I'm going to buy something. I would like to buy you this gift, and it's going to be $400. And so you got me the earrings and you got me the necklace. And I didn't know what it was going to be at the time, but You had made up your mind and you just wanted to say, check in. Hey, babe, I really want to get this for you. So I just need you to know that it's bigger than typically what we would spend.
I'm such a good husband, because some people wouldn't even check in for $400. Like, they'd be like, whatever.
You're right. Well, you are a good husband, but we also have ground. Listen, you know what? Okay.
We have ground rules.
Yes. Right? So, so typically that is what we would do, is we would check in and say, hey, this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And there was a time when I think our threshold was, if it's over $100, we need to check in. And I do think that has changed.
What's funny is that was a long time ago.
Yes.
That was a real threshold. I think now we don't even, we check in, but like.
Not really
when we're making big purchases, large purchases, we're typically doing that together.
So what is a large purchase? What is like the smallest large purchase, aside from this event, that would be typical for us to check in on?
I guess if I was just randomly spending $500 or $600, I'd probably call you and say, hey, I'm about to do such and such. Mm-hmm. Or if, I don't know, I have my own little side money. Mm-hmm. I call it Chris's play money. And sometimes I spend it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I save it. And sometimes I look up, I've got, $600, $700, $800. I don't check in with nobody on that.
So
that's different.
It is different only because
it's already been budgeted for.
It's in the budget as Chris's play money on a regular basis.
And Chris just sets it aside.
Yes.
Because Chris is like, well, I don't want to play. So I just set it aside, and then when it gets big enough, I'm like, you know what? I feel like playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go find something I want to buy or whatever. And I don't even know why it matters even now, but
So here's why we started that though, is because you didn't want your needs and wants to be subject to whatever the balance is in the account or our little miscellaneous money or whatever. And I think the other reason is because, you know, if our miscellaneous money is $200, which typically is what it is, honestly, like almost everything you want is more than that, right? like literally, there is rarely a time when you want something that is $150, less than $150. So
you know what it is? You know what it is?
what?
I have a wife and 2 daughters.
Yes.
And as they were growing up, I always felt like I put what you all needed ahead of myself. And so I always deferred to, why are you making that face?
Keep going. Keep going.
I don't know if I like that face.
Go
though.
ahead.
I always deferred to what you all wanted or needed. And I felt like I kind of put my needs on the back burner a little bit.
So I will say it differently, is that there's a couple things here. There's 3 of us.
One of me.
We're women. And when things are happening in the house, they're happening quickly. And I'm planning for those, and we're doing this, and you know, like it's just, we got to go do this, and the kid had this activity or this. All of these things start happening, and I think that again, it adds up, and it's a part of the budget. But you aren't always thinking about your needs, like if that makes sense. Like it's not that you.
I'm more in the moment. I don't plan ahead or say, well, I need to buy clothes or I want to buy tennis shoes or whatever it is. You know, I'm just like in the moment, oh, I want to do such and such. Then I have to go back and look at the budget and think about the budget.
Because we didn't plan for it.
Right.
So we decided to plan for you to have extra money so that when you had that idea that you already had funds for it.
Right.
And you didn't want, like over time in raising our kids, you didn't want at any given moment to have something in your head that you wanted and then not have the dollars to do it. And you work hard and you are the breadwinner and you know what I'm saying? So you don't want to feel like, wait a minute, I work hard and I still can't do what I want to do.
Wait a minute. Hold on now. I can't do what I want to do.
Right. And that's common. I can't tell you, it is incredibly common. But the thing that is important to note is that whoever is managing the household, who's typically paying the bills or ensuring that the kids have what they need, on the surface, it seems like they're spending all the money. What it is they're managing most of what's happening.
And they're just proactive, you know?
Yeah.
I think I am reactive in a lot of ways.
Right.
But I don't know, as we're talking about this and people are listening, I'm sure people can identify where they sit, where they fall in a scenario like this.
Yeah.
But like with this particular incident of spending, you know, $2,200 on the trip, I mean, fortunately, we can do it, right? It's not going to change anything. We're not going to be in debt or anything like that. But the point that we're getting at is that that's not typically how we operate, you know? And we have, over the years, just been diligent, been consistent in how we approach budgeting, how we approach spending. And it takes a lot of work and effort to be methodical like that, but it always has worked out for us. That's what it puts us in the position we're in today. But this trip, I mean, I work hard. I feel like I need a break.
So.
And my hand the paddle was light, so it was just like bam, you know, bam, you know.
Was it reflex? Like did your hand moved and your head was slower to the draw on that one?
You know what? Here's what's really bad, and I'm gonna have to admit, because you started asking me questions, I was like, I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
You said, I can't remember the second text message you sent me, but you called me on the way home. I was out of the bath and I was relaxed. I have this little routine that I do to ensure that I am relaxed before bed, all of that. Anyway, and then we started talking and you said, first of all, well, I'm not even sure I got it. You said I just put my paddle up. I don't know. I don't have any
Right.
confirmation yet
That's true.
that I have it. And so then I was because I
Because
think
they were like, they said the next 15 people that put your paddles up, you know, we have this trip. And I was like, bam.
so I didn't know. So I think you were trying to soften the blow. Like, girl, this
I was
may
like,
not happen.
I don't even know if it's really going to happen.
Exactly.
You know, like, calm down.
And then I said, well, okay, so what is the trip? And like, what
I was
does
like,
that
Mexico.
include?
I don't know. Because what I was going to say is we were sitting there at the table and auctions going on. And I was talking to someone. And then I was like, huh? What is that? I said, what's going on? Because I wasn't even listening because I was disengaged from like the live auction. And so then I started paying attention and it was towards the end. I was like, boom, I'm in. And I said, I've been to this event enough times that they have, you know, good opportunities. Mm-hmm. So I assumed that it would be good enough that we would enjoy, you know, the trip.
Yeah.
And so I think the bigger thing here is like, you know, people can get caught up by impulse.
Do you feel like you did?
No, not at all.
Really?
No, not at all. Because we're going to Mexico.
Wait. Hold on.
5 nights,
It
6
doesn't.
days.
Okay. Okay. I get it.
You know, it averages $1,200 a night. So I was like, man, we winning.
So I get that it was a good deal,
It was a great deal.
but you don't feel like that was an impulse purchase for you.
It was definitely an impulse purchase.
Okay.
Because I didn't plan for it. We hadn't talked about it. It was just like, in the moment, you know, boom, I pulled the trigger.
So I have another question for you. Do you feel that us paying off our mortgage influenced your arm raising?
I was like, I'm out here in these streets free.
Yes. Do you feel that
I
way?
was like, I'm about to celebrate in Mexico.
Is that true, or are we just playing?
I think subconsciously I might have been thinking like, yeah, you know what? We talked about how we're going to celebrate.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate in Mexico.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
because we had freedom and
Well, we also had freed up money to where you knew that this was
Yeah.
not going to set us back and right? Like
Right,
this
I
was
was
the
like,
first
this
month
is-
we had freed up
I was
money.
like, this is not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And we already had like cushion. No mortgage just gave us more cushion. So I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. We still can save and do whatever. Like, you know, all the retirement savings is automatic, but we save beyond that. I was like, and I don't even, I guess I got to start asking questions, you know, what are we saving for? You know, we got to start talking about that. But that's a whole nother podcast.
It is a whole nother episode. But I think this is what I think is important for people to hear is that we have been budgeters our entire marriage.
Yes.
We got out of
We've
debt.
been consummate communicators.
Right, but we got out of debt 20 years ago.
Yes.
We also just paid our home off. We have an emergency fund, and
we're fully funded for retirement.
And I do this kind of work on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis, and there's still the temptation to have impulse purchases.
Yeah. Now,
So I'm saying, here's what I'm saying is that we're not going a straight road all the time. Like sometimes there are diversions and sometimes there are other things that come, and one might look at it and say, this is in the way, blah, blah, blah. And I think that people need to know that we don't always do everything exact. And I think that's important.
Look, I think that's very important. And I think that goes to the mantra that we've always stuck with, you know, progress over perfection. Now, would I tell people who are watching or listening to us to go out and do that? No. Know your situation, because just like I did that, I got another story I'm going to tell, because you could be on the other side of it. Like that $2,200 could be detrimental or impactful to you in a way that it causes, you know, real harm, you know, to your budget or your savings.
Or your relationship.
Yeah, it could do some
to
damage.
come back, because my
Right.
response is probably not everybody's response.
Right. And so, like at this same event, we knew of someone who actually bought a different trip that was a multiple of the trip that I bought.
How much was it, babe?
It was $22,000 for a trip.
That's insane. Wait a minute. Okay, so what was included in this trip?
it was like a trip to Bordeaux, France, and it had like all this stuff included for, you know, a bunch of people, but it was 22 grand. And this person, like, they bid it and won. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't even know that this person had won until after the fact. Someone told me, hey, such and such bought that trip and won. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Good for them. It's like, I'm not spending 22 grand, but.
I'm telling you, you know what? If you had come back to me and said, babe, I done spent $22,000,
Yeah,
$20,000,
nah.
I would flip out. I would be like,
and that would have been justified for you to flip out because I feel like 2,200, like the threshold for us, that's within our threshold. It's the margin of error is small. Like we can count that as a margin of error. Mm-hmm. It's not going to derail us. It's not going to change. As I like to say, it's not going to change the course of life for us. And 22 grand might not change the course of life for us, but 22 grand is like, that's a bigger impact. And I'd be like, well, hold on. Why would you do that without
I think that it
discussing or talking?
In reality, it would take us a year to build that back up in our emergency fund.
Yeah,
and here's,
I'm not about that life.
And here's the thing. What we don't want to do is to make decisions that cause us to not have our emergency fund intact because you just never know when things are going to happen, how long things are going to be happening, and all of that.
That's what I'm not going to do.
Right.
Is derail my emergency fund because this is not an emergency.
Yeah.
But the long story short is that this person actually reneged on the trip.
That's horrible.
Now, this is a cancer organization.
So let's talk about, so who is benefiting from this money?
Cancer organization raising money, you know, to support their cancer center, patient support, things like that. Because even on my $2,200 trip, $915 of it is tax deductible. So I'm actually going to be writing that portion.
I know, that part feels good.
I was like, you know, boom. You know, not only are we going to Mexico, but we're getting an additional tax break.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? This trip sounds better and better as I talked about it.
It does.
But this person got the $22,000 trip off of impulse because I know it was an impulse because they wanted to look like, you know, a big spender, a big shot. I don't know. Also,
there's always alcohol at these events, and alcohol has you reduce your faculties. Yes, your inhibitions, and you get caught up in the moment. Right. She definitely did.
That's what this person said. They were like, I was drinking, and she was like, I've been drinking. I was like, See, me, I was sober-minded. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say, too, is I think that there was a part of you that knew at some point you were going to spend money on another trip for you and I. I think I
have been saying it to you. I have been saying, like, we have this trip, this family trip. I said, we need to plan a vacation, me and you. And I don't know how many times I had already said it.
And let me just tell you, you had said, let's just say you said it 5 times.
Right.
I'm sure you said it 5 times. I wasn't 100% bought in. And here's why. It's because I think about all the things that we have to do in the next 4 months.
When are we going to have time to do it?
And I'm always thinking, when are we fitting it in? Yep. So for me, it wasn't really a money decision. It was more of when can we do something like that? And because I'm on board. Like, I'm all right, sure.
I was like, I don't care.
I'm not going to turn down a vacation. Right. However,
we're going to figure it out.
But when is it going to happen? And so that's always what's on my mind because for 25 years, I have been the planner of the house. Like, I'm the one who knows when everything is happening and all of that.
You know the calendar and the schedule. But the good thing is the trip has to be booked within 12 months and you can use it within 18. But it's going to be a 2026 trip.
Yeah.
I've already decided that.
Yeah.
But the whole point is that people can get caught up and allow impulse to drive what they do and not really be using logic or thinking about, well, should I be doing this? Should I check in? Because one of my colleagues was joking with her husband saying, hey, she was talking about this same trip. Hey, I bought this $22,000 trip. And her husband was like, what? Like, did you really? Because I think she had the propensity to do that type of stuff where he was kind of like, wait a minute, did she really do this? And so we would never do that.
No.
I would never make that big of a purchase without consulting you. And I must say, it's because, one, like we said, we've been budgeters. We communicate about how we're going to move and how we're going to spend and what we're going to do. And I've never made a choice or decision on a vacation just based on what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. We always talk about stuff because I want your feedback, and I value your feedback, and I want to make sure it's something that we both want to do. And for all those reasons, I would never make a purchase like that without talking to you of that magnitude. And we've already stated, like, you know, if you spend 20 grand, that's not an emergency, you have to build that back up in your emergency fund.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you have a $20,000 emergency, if that was it, I mean, first of all, if that was it, I mean, that could be devastating when a real emergency comes up. That's why trips and shopping and sales is not emergencies.
No, it's not. You have to protect your emergency fund. You definitely need to do that.
And this is coming out of discretionary spending for us in particular.
So how do you think you would handle it if I did something like that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What would your response be?
That's a good question. I know initially I'd be like, girl, what you doing? I know myself. I know my flex response would be like, what are you doing? Like, we ain't talk about this. Like, where's that money coming from? I would have all the same answers and responses to you that you had to me.
Yes.
But at the end of the night, I would still sleep okay.
The interesting thing is, I am much less of an impulse purchaser than you are.
Yes.
And I'm pretty proud of myself for how I handled it.
I think you handled it well.
Yes.
You handled it extremely well.
I think that one, obviously it's not a deal breaker because it wasn't a selfish purchase, to be honest. So it benefited both of us, right? So it would be different if you were like, hey, I done bought this guy's trip, we going. I'd have been like,
hold on.
Oh, this is what we doing. Right?
Right.
So we both benefit. And you had already been talking about it. And
I feel like I had been priming the pump already.
You were.
Because I've been telling you, look, I need a trip.
And I'll be very honest and say, I probably was never going to plan. I was never going to sit down and figure out how we can do it unless you had led that journey to.
Because you already have a trip you're going on that you planned.
Yes.
Is with you and, your girls.
Yes.
That I'm not going on. So I was like, you already got another vacation.
Right.
Then we had the bigger vacation that we're going on as a family, which I did most of the planning for that.
Sure.
So I was like, hold on now, I'm deficient a vacation here. So like I got to get on board to get my vacation. So.
But anyway, so I think we're gonna have a good time once we figure out. Then
Absolutely.
The other thing is since we didn't know that night if it was confirmed. In the morning, you saw an email, or at some point during that day, you got an email.
It said, congratulations.
So then I said, no, I need proof. And so you printed off the receipt.
Because I had already paid for it and printed a receipt because I know you.
Yeah.
You were like, did you really get that? I was like, look, we need this receipt for the taxes anyway, so let me just.
We had gone to church.
Let me go ahead and print it off.
Look, we had gone to church and had a holy moment. And, all is right in the world. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in the right mind space. And then you bring the receipt. And I said, oh, okay, this is for real. But I do think that the other part of this is, you had someone who was sitting there who was like, I've been to that resort.
Yeah, she validated.
She said it was amazing.
Yes.
And then you did some research. And first of all, they came back with some details this week and said, you know what, you can pick from these 5 resorts. But the one that you thought it was, she said that it was, amazing. And then you found out that it was $1,200 a night. I'm like, tell me what is going on at this resort that is $1,200 a night. There's literally only one other time in my life that I've been to a place like that. And it was when you won a trip for work. And we went to Tahoe.
Oh yeah, we were in Lake Tahoe.
We were at Lake Tahoe, and our hotel was really nice. Like, it was very nice. And that was the only other
trip.
Yes, that was the only other time I've been to a place of that type of elevation.
That's crazy. That's crazy because we've been a lot of places, and we've been a lot of places.
Maybe Vail. Vail was also great, but
I'm talking about, like, we went to St. Martin. We went to.
But we haven't been. I don't know. Like, I can't say
Those
that I've been
places
somewhere
were-
that was $1,200 a night.
Oh, those places were pretty elevated, but
Yeah.
that's a side journey.
Okay.
But the whole point here is, impulse can really set you aside or astray. But in our case, it didn't set us up for a failure.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say what my make it worth it is out of this.
Okay.
Because though I was impulsive and bought a trip, I was still aware of what our circumstance and situation would allow for.
Sure.
And so to make it worth it, you have to invest in the relationship. And I felt like this was an important thing to do. But you also need to know where your money is. You need to know if you're going to be able to do this from discretionary spending or if you're going to be taking this from savings, because it's not an emergency. But I think if you're going to do something, you have to really still think it through, even if you're in the moment.
Yeah.
Because to me, that makes it less impulse and more calculated in how you're going to respond, even if it's something that you weren't planning for.
Yeah.
I think you still have to be a bit more calculated in order to come home and share and not have it be, a detriment to your relationship.
Yeah. We don't want World War III in the house
Yeah.
with the purchases.
Don't let an impulsive purchase create a wedge that bleeds into other areas, because I think that happens when people aren't communicative and people aren't planning and people are operating independently.
Yes.
Though this was an independent motion on my part, we talk about money and finances and the budget and all of this ad nauseum.
Right. Sometimes we get sick of ourselves.
Right. So I know, okay, this is not going to be a detractor for us. Mm-hmm. It's like we're going to spend this money anyway somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I just expedited the process.
You did. So I'm sure it'll be a lovely trip. Let me share my make it worth it. I think you touched on it, and so I think I'll just repeat it. I think it's important for you to have a game plan for any and all money that you have coming in. So I know people get tired of being so, if you feel like you have to be exact, for instance, or all the time, like every single month you got to do a budget, or anytime extra money comes in, people don't feel like that's restriction.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like it's freedom, because you knew you had the freedom simply because you knew that it wasn't going to take away from some of the other financial goals or dollars that we have. It wasn't going to set us back.
Absolutely.
And so it was a calculated risk in that regard. And in your mind, you probably were already thinking you wanted to spend it because you wanted a vacation. So my whole thing is this, always have a game plan, because if you don't have a game plan for your money and then you start spending it, that's where debt comes. That's literally where debt comes. And the other thing, of course, is this cannot happen every month.
No.
That would be tragic for
But you know
anybody's
what?
finances.
You know what? It's funny you say have a game plan, because I think when I got there, I already had a game plan. I was like, you know what? Let me put my card on file this time.
See?
Let me be ready and prepared so my eyes and ears are open. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I was already pre-gaming to buy
You were
something.
making up for the last week where you didn't get to get
I was
something.
like, let me be thinking about it.
But it isn't a bad thing. And to be honest with you, here's the other part of this that I think is kind of interesting, is maybe what we ought to do is be prepared every year, because we might get a better deal on vacations in this way. Since this is something you do every year, we might as well say, okay, well, let's just put aside $2,500 for the purpose of being ready for a trip that we want to take.
Now you talking.
Honestly, like that's the game plan, right? So then there's not surprises. Then you're like, hey, babe, this is what they got this year.
Yeah.
And because you did show me, I think the previous week you showed me what they had on auction. I was like, I'm not really interested.
Just to see if you had interest in anything or.
But I think if we're ready, then it is all we've done is found a way to, one, go to a very nice place, save some money on our taxes.
Be generous.
And help a good cause.
Yeah.
Like, I just think, let's just be intentional next time.
And that's where I think having debt freedom is, I have shifted, like I've been shifting over the years. Like we've been debt free, you know, except for the house for a long time. And now with the house being gone, it's like, I've always been shifting, and I'm charitable. I have a giving heart, and I'm always looking for opportunities. And now I've even said even more like, man, I got to think about how I want to be a giver, just because I believe God's going to continue to bless us, and there's going to be opportunities that are going to come our way to, you know, invest in other things, as well as opportunities to be givers, because we know that everything that we have is just not for our own consumption. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, maybe my heart was just open and I was just feeling good because, you know, I wasn't like the other person. I think they had
too much to drink.
A couple of those, too many, you know. I was sober-minded, so.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm so glad. So anyway, this was good. I know it was funny to come home and have to unpack this a little bit, but a week away from all of that, I think all is well. Yeah. And ultimately, it was a good decision because I actually think that we're saving money. We're gonna have a good time, and it was a good cause.
Great time, and so I've already figured out I'm gonna use miles, so we don't even have to pay for airfare.
Double win.
So I was like, boom, you know, we'll just go and have fun.
Yes.
Then we'll come back. We'll tell you all about it when we come back.
That's right.
So.
Well, this was good, babe. I guess I have to say, I'm glad you spent the money.
Right. That's when you say, good job, babe.
Good job, babe.
Exactly.
Thank you, honey.
Exactly.
It took 7 days for me to get here, but it's all good.
Right. I keep taking you places.
You do. You do. I love it. Well, until next time.
We're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on ForBetterAndWorth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.